I get a lot of questions down in the comment section, on Twitter, in my emails, and everything like that from people asking me how to be a professional at Redstone. How do I become a pro at using Redstone? Well, hopefully this video is going to help you out. And just as a quick disclaimer for anyone who thinks this video is going to be serious, it's not. Tip number one is a fairly obvious one. In fact, I almost feel like it goes without saying, but that is to build your redstone contraptions on brightly coloured blocks. If you're using iron blocks or stone slabs, or heaven forbid you decide to use dirt, then you're not going to get anywhere. And also, on top of that, you need to make sure that you're using the correct type of texture pack. The normal wool textures in Minecraft are absolutely disgusting. You need to make sure that you're using a nice minimal one so that you can keep your brain clear, and most importantly, your redstone dust. I mean, if you're using the standard texture for redstone dust, you're never going to be able to build good redstone contraptions. Okay, let's get into some actual nitty-gritty redstone action now. This is wrong. I mean, this is totally wrong. We're running a lever out and we're running it round a corner there. We've got a repeater in the circuit. This isn't how you do it. Now this is a little bit more like it. I mean, just look how much better that looks. Now, to be a true redstone professional, you need to compact your redstone contraptions so much that they're almost impossible to build in survival mode. Now this one isn't too bad, but there's a few too many air spaces. I mean, look, I can almost find my way in there. I could do a better job at compacting this thing. And when it comes to piston doors, you need to build them big. In fact, you need to build them so big that you'd need to build an entire castle around them to fit all of the redstone in. Otherwise, you're just not trying hard enough. Now, I think we can all agree, redstone lines, that's old school technology, very 2013. What we're building these days is we're building observer lines. They're flat, they can be stacked next to one another, and they transmit one-tick redstone signals through them. And, I mean, they are incredibly useful. You're not a redstone professional unless you have at least one of them in every single redstone circuit. Quasi-connectivity is awesome, and it's genuinely one of the most useful tools that you can use inside redstone contraptions. But you're not a true redstone professional unless you get slightly frustrated by it sometimes. Now, I want to make it very clear, Mojang, if you're watching this, do not remove quasi-connectivity. But wouldn't it be nice if you could place a piston and then a line of redstone just above it, without having to worry about something like this happening? Sometimes I dream of a solution to this, but I still haven't thought of one. Alright, that last one was a little bit controversial, so let's get on to something that I think we can all agree on. This is totally wrong. In fact, in a way, it's kind of disgusting, whereas this is right. Button, T flip-flop. Why would a professional at redstone ever use a lever? I mean, I don't want this thing dangling off my wall. This is much nicer. We make a lot of backups of our worlds. I have 21 copies of this world in my Minecraft saves folder to stop me having to rebuild the entire thing when things like this happen. I mean, even so, it's still quite satisfying to watch. Just because this is a slightly jokey video doesn't mean that these tips aren't genuinely useful. There's a lot of truth in all of these. Like the fact that I spend a lot of my time and energy designing and constructing extremely secure bunkers that are completely hidden away, that have all sorts of different security measures that protect them against other players, and I build them in single player worlds. And better yet, I build them in creative mode. I mean, what am I trying to protect? I can't die, so I'm not protecting myself, and I'm not exactly protecting my items as I'm in creative mode. I've got infinite numbers. I can have anything I want. It makes no sense. Anyway, let's move on to something which obviously isn't totally pointless. Hidden crafting benches. If you're a true redstone professional, you shouldn't have a single visible crafting bench in your base. If you do, then you should be ousted from the community immediately. Another thing that us redstone professionals are often very good at is causing lag. Often causing lag on multiplayer servers and generally annoying a lot of the other players. And if you're an extra special redstone professional, then you might kill that server. Yeah, a certain incident on the Hermitcraft server comes to mind. That is one full night's worth. It's created a circle. We've made a circle in Minecraft. What the heck? I want to know how many entities are there. We build absolutely massive farms for items that we don't necessarily need that much of. I mean, really, who needs this much sugarcane? I can't remember the last time I needed that much sugarcane, and don't even get me started on the netherwart farm over there. And then of course you need to build a massive storage system to store up all of the items that farm is producing, because otherwise the farm is totally pointless. So now you have a massive farm that is producing items that you don't really need, being stored in a massive storage system that you also don't really need. It does look pretty cool though, doesn't it? When new features get added into the game, even if they aren't redstone features, you instantly start thinking of all of the redstone applications of said additions. For example, when I started messing around with the new water mechanics and started creating machines a little bit like this one. There were more useful ones, but this was one of my personal favourites, and that's ended up working better than it did originally. Just to make it quite clear, that redstone contraption totally just broke on me, but it ended up looking really good. We talk about one-tick pulses a lot. I mean, these things are basically the holy grail of redstone. I use them all the time. In fact, I can't remember many redstone contraptions that I've built in the past that don't involve some form of monostable circuit that shoots out some form of one-tick pulse. It just doesn't happen. We make security systems that would take a human billions of years to solve, just because we can. I mean, there's no real reason for it. They're not actually very secure. A player could just break through the door at the end and get access to your items. They're just fun projects to work on. I think this one has something times 10 to the power of 200 possible combinations, so that's a number with 200 zeros after it. That just sounds impressive. We often get a little bit overexcited when things finally function how we expected them to. Redstone is one of those things that you can spend hours working on a problem with no solution in sight, and when it finally works, oh boy, is it a good feeling. Yes! Oh my word, I can't believe that's actually functioning. But for all of those moments where it actually ends up working, there's probably a similar number where it never ends up working. This redstone testing world is a bit of a graveyard for those redstone projects that I've started that have turned out to be completely impossible. We abuse bugs and use them to our advantage to create cool redstone contraptions. This one is one of many that I often utilize inside my redstone builds, but there is one that I definitely miss, and that is the Piston Translocation Bug. Those elevators were so much fun to use. But speaking of bugs and unintended behaviours, we're often quite scared when members of Mojang start talking about how they're going to clean up certain areas of redstone, because you never know what's going to get removed. I mean, just in a recent snapshot, sticky pistons spitting out their blocks when they get a one-tick pulse was actually taken out from the game. It broke so much stuff. But it's back now though. Thank goodness. So let me ask you guys a bit of a question. In front of me, I've got two identical repeater setups. Both of them are two repeaters with 4 total ticks. Just this one is 2 ticks and 2 ticks, and this one is 1 tick and 3 ticks. Which one is the correct way of doing it? If you answered this one, get off my channel. I don't want to see you again. Okay, serious talk now. Do you want to know how to tell if you're a real redstone pro, like a true redstone pro? Is if you know how to use a comparator properly. Took me a long time to work this out, man. When it comes to transporting items, you use packed ice and water streams as opposed to hopper lines. A, it's just, I mean, look how much cooler it looks, it's so satisfying, but B, it's about 10 times faster. But if for some ungodly reason you can't actually place in a water stream and you have to place a hopper line instead, you place furnaces on top to stop it from lagging so much. Is this one actually true? I feel like this one could be one of those Minecraft old wives' tales, like sugarcane growing faster on sand or something. You see things in real life and wonder, I wonder if I could build that in Minecraft. I actually did this in a recent redstone video and it went down incredibly well. I just want to say a huge thank you for the massively positive response on that thing. And by the way, this is still one of my favourite redstone contraptions I've made. Arcade basketball. Embarrassingly, I don't seem to have filled it up with basketball, so ignore that completely broken redstone demonstration. Moving on. So what I did was I hooked up the T flip-flop into the RS NOR latch, and then I split the redstone signal between the two quadraflops, ran it through the boolean, and then over the XOR through the RS NOR, and then I ended up with an item. And that, Grian, is why you always have to make sure that you carry your observers on you. Using really long redstone terms to sound smart to people that don't necessarily do much redstone. And for the last thing that professional redstoners, all professional redstoners do, it is subscribe to my friend's YouTube channel, Ilmangos. It's a really, really good YouTube channel. He knows exactly what he's doing. I'll put a link to it down in the description. But anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. It was a lot of fun to create, just goofing around a little bit. Of course, put your extra ones down in the comment section if you're a professional redstoner. Obviously, if you're not, then don't talk down there. You don't belong on the channel. And anyway, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please sure to hit that like button. And if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later.